LED vehicle headlights to replace the old crusty, musty halogen headlights in your older car? Let's check it out. Alright, so I have a 2006 Ford Taurus, and it's held up really well over the years, but the headlights on it are literally atrocious. I get such bad anxiety when I go to drive, and it's not really anything to do with the headlight bulb itself. The thing is the oxidization that happens on the outside of the lens. Now, they do make products that will actually clean that off and seal it back up, but believe me, it only lasts for about a month or two, and then it comes right back. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to use a very bright LED bulb and see if we can't penetrate through that haze. And real quick, this is going to be for a halogen reflective headlight, not a projector. The projector is the type where it looks like you have a convex magnifying glass kind of in your headlight. That's a projector. We're just talking about the good old halogen reflective. So we will get more into the difference between the two here in a little bit, and we'll also go a little bit more into the way LED bulbs actually work now and how they differ from a couple years ago. But first, let's go ahead and go for a night ride in the Taurus, and I'll show you exactly how bad my headlights are. Okay, there we go. Alright, so here's a good kind of spot to kind of show you. Here's the low beams, there's the high beams. Again, I do the high beams when I go. Okay, there's low, there's high beams. So as you can see, yeah, it's pretty bad. Alright, so let's go and change these out with the LED bulbs and let's see the difference. Okay, so here we are, pointed at the garage. Let's go ahead and start the car so they're just as bright as they can be. We have just installed the Auxito LED headlights. These should be not as orange. Should be, I think it's 6000K, which is Kelvin. So it's going to be a more whiter light, brighter. All right, so here we go. Oh, wow. Wow. I'm going to back up a little bit so we can see. Yeah, there's still, the left one's up a little higher than the right one. That's just the low beams. There's high beams. Okay, so same spot as before. Brights, not brights. Brights. It is incredible, the difference. Yeah, don't waste time cleaning your headlight lenses. Do this instead. Wow, this is already so much better. There's low beams. And the high beams, wow, that is so much better. I am really shocked. Now, as we see here, you can tell the low beam pattern is definitely much lower, and then the high beam pattern comes up high. So there is question with these about if they actually work properly as a halogen. Well, they're designed to where their LED drivers are exactly where the filaments are. So yeah, I mean, it's impeccable the way this works. Alright, so this one is actually from the Taurus. This is a regular halogen reflective, and I didn't really go into too much on how to remove this on the 2006 Ford Taurus, but it's very easy. On the inside of the light bulb, there's always going to be an 8mm screw that goes there, and then there are two little pull tabs that actually pull up on the back of the headlight, and then this whole assembly just kind of pops right out. And on the back of here, there's actually a little ring that holds in the headlight, which you can then remove, and then you can just remove your headlight, or your bulb, excuse me. This is a reflective halogen, and this is kind of the old school, kind of run-of-the-mill thing. The projector type is actually more, I think, commonly used with HID headlights now, and it actually concentrates and magnifies the light beam into a more controlled kind of area. Now, I'm pretty sure they do make LED headlights that would actually change out for the projectors, which is an HID style light. But for the old school halogen like this one, these things are a very, very good fit. So if you can see, there's kind of the tip of the halogen is blacked out, and that's because the beam of light is not going straight ahead. It's actually reflecting to the side, reflecting off of the inside of the headlight assembly, and then shining to its destination. And that's why, if you look, the filaments actually line up perfectly. So they've thought of everything. Now, there's a couple more things to mention with these LED headlights, and that is kind of the way they're made now compared to how they were made. We'll first start off with the fact that a lot of LED headlights, especially the old ones, when you plug them into newer cars, you would get a light on your dash saying that you had a headlight out, even though you had an LED headlight put in it. That's because these draw significantly less current. There's other reasons too, but we don't really need to get too far into it. But what Auxito have done, and what a lot of the manufacturers have done, they've actually put circuitry in here to where it will stop that from happening. So basically, with the new ones, you will not get any lights on your dash saying that you have a headlight out. Another thing is, there used to be a big external kind of heatsink and driver for LEDs, which actually kind of did something bad. Yes, it takes heat away from your driver, but you kind of want to have a little bit of heat in your headlight. That was the good thing about HID and halogen headlights, is that the heat that they generate in the cold winter months actually will defrost like snow and ice off of your headlights. Now, these dissipate a lot of heat, and how they work is they do have a heatsink for that, but they also have a little tiny fan in here which will not only cool off the chipset, the heatsink, but it will also kind of circulate the warmer air through the inside of your headlight assembly, which will help to defrost it. Alright, so another thing I should mention is never touch the bulb or the LED driver with bare fingers, and that's because the oil from your fingers can get onto them and can ultimately ruin them. Another thing to mention is, I guess, aiming your headlights, and on this 2006 Ford Taurus, there's actually a little screw on the back here that has kind of a wing nut inside of it, so you would tighten that righty-tighty to actually raise it, and if you loosen it, it will lower your headlight. So that's something I'm going to have to do on this one. This is the driver's side, and as you could see in the video, the driver's side's a little bit higher than the passenger side. I think the passenger side is more of the right height. And also, like I mentioned, these lights were sent in by Auxito, and I do usually accept collaborations when companies send me paid promotions. I'm actually going to be doing a video on all of the paid promotions that I've got so far. Pretty much going to kind of do a grab it up or pass it up. There's a couple of things that I reviewed that needs to be put out there that I would pass it right up. And I'm going to do the same thing with these Auxito. It's been, you know, only a couple hours since I've had them in my car. We will come back and we will review how they've worked after a couple months, if they make it that long, and kind of show, you know, how long they will actually work, because that's one thing that I'm kind of worried about with them, is the longevity. They do say that there are 50,000 hours of operating time, which is a long time, so we will check that. Kind of like these other items that I reviewed that didn't really hold up. Well, some did, some of them didn't. You can check that out right up here. Thanks guys, have a good one.